cover both hot and cold drinks that you can have during Candida diet. And of course, you don't particularly need to be on Candida diet to enjoy those drinks. And what's more, I also address the controversial topics of coffee and alcohol on Candida diet. Before we move on, have you found an effective anti-Candida supplement yet? Years back when I did my research, I stumbled upon 𝐀𝐟𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐢𝐚, naturopath from New Zealand, and his book, The Candida Crusher. His book bases on his 25-year clinical experience with treating yeast infection. Luckily, he decided to formulate his own dietary supplements that are not only highly effective but also clinically studied. Candida Remove is a unique high-potency antifungal, antibacterial and anti-parasite formulation for Candida yeast infection. It contains 12 of the most potent antifungal herbs. Repeated comprehensive digestive stool analysis testing before and after taking Candida Remove has confirmed the clinical efficacy of this potent broad-spectrum formulation. Candida Restore contains 7 enzymes, 6 probiotic strains, is time-release and shelf-stable. Formula works great for those with Candida overgrowth, leaky gut and SIBO. It was formulated after using countless dietary supplement formulations in 𝐀𝐟𝐼𝐥𝐢𝐚 clinic with results ranging from very poor to average at best. It contains the most active and clinically proven enzymes and probiotic strains currently known not only for candidiasis but for SIBO as well. I personally take those babies and I can't recommend them enough. For the links and any valid discount codes, please check out the description. Moving on to today's video. The best thing to drink on Candida diet is, obviously, water. Drink it plain, best filtered of course, or I like to add some mineral water for taste and fuzz, about 1/4 of a glass. Whenever you can, choose glass bottles. Start your mornings with 2 glasses of water to rehydrate. Lemon water is a great morning drink that has an amazingly alkalizing effect on your body. If you prefer your water fancier, infuse it with, for example, cucumber, mint and raspberries. Other options include thyme, rosemary or cranberries, lingonberries, lime and lemon slices. Should you be into juicing, choose vegetables like cucumber, celery or cabbage, which you can drink undiluted, or carrot, green apple and beetroot that are high in sugar, so it's better to dilute with 50% water and have half a glass to 1 glass twice daily between meals. I also love sauerkraut juice, but don't go overboard with this one as it's high in sodium. Kombucha actually is not a straight no. However, it's better to buy commercially produced ones and not try to make it at home where you have no control over the strains that would start growing. So you can try having a glass a day, but if your symptoms don't abate, leave it out for a few weeks and then try again. Now let's move on to hot drinks. Any herbal teas not containing black tea, like mint, peppermint, chamomile, lemongrass, dill, lemon balm, nettle and any tea blends. Did you know that you can freeze fresh peppermint leaves to have fresh peppermint tea throughout the winter? Ginger is excellent, especially during the cold season. It also encourages healthy liver, is bowel cleansing and a good anti-nausea and cold remedy. I like to cut real fine slices, add water and boil for at least 10 minutes. For a lazy version, simply pour hot water over ginger powder and mix. Next up is Lapacho tea. Several compounds from Lapacho have demonstrated strong anti-candida effects. Take 1 tablespoon of tea and add 1/3 cup of cold water. After water starts to boil, reduce heat and simmer very low with the lid on for at least 20 minutes. Then add a little more water to bring liquid level back to start level. You can make it a bit stronger or weaker if you are uncomfortable with the taste. Strain the tea through a tea strainer. Serve lukewarm or cooler. Do not use aluminum or tin pots or storage containers. Matcha tea and green tea are very good on Candida diet because of very powerful antioxidant content. The best green tea to drink is matcha. A few cups a day of a good quality green tea is very beneficial. Ladle 1 teaspoon of matcha powder into a bowl. For finer results, sift it through a fine sieve. Boil water in a kettle, switch it off and leave the cover up for 2 minutes. Then the water will be 80 Celsius and you can pour 30 milliliters onto the powder. Now start whisking. First, make a few circular movements to mix it all up and then start moving vigorously in W shape until a nice foam appears. And this is where preferences come in. I like to warm up a third of a cup of barista oat milk and pour my whisked matcha into it. Then fill the cup with the rest of the hot water. Some people only use the matcha base with 30 milliliters of water and fill the rest with milk, and some people don't use milk at all and have ceremonial matcha. It's totally up to you. When you drink a cup of good quality matcha tea a day, you really help your body to build a powerful immune defense, plus you actually help in busting any Candida biofilm. However, make sure you indeed purchase a good quality matcha powder. If it's cheap, it's no good. I enjoy at least 1 cup every day. Which reminds me, if you like what I do, you can support me by getting me a cup of matcha on Ko-fi, by either donating once or setting up a monthly matcha flow. Cheers! If for any reason you can't or don't want to have matcha, there are these babies you can use instead: Moringa leaf powder and barley grass powder. And you can utilize wheatgrass powder as well. Moringa leaf powder is rich in vitamin B2, B6, C, iron, as well as antioxidants. Not advised to use when pregnant or breastfeeding though. Barley grass is a good bowel cleansing food and it's a good source of fiber, flavonoids, polyphenols, and vitamins A, C, and K. You should be cautious if you're taking blood thinners or have kidney disease. Consult your healthcare provider. Turmeric latte has bowel cleansing effect and encourages healthy liver. You can make it using either fresh turmeric root or powder. Here's how I make my lazy version. Add half to 1 teaspoon of ginger powder and 1 teaspoon of turmeric into a cup. Now fill 3/4 of the cup with hot water and stir. Fill the rest of the cup with preferred plant milk. I use barista kind oat milk. No sweetener needed. This warming and comforting drink was in my daily routine for a couple of months straight. Chicory is another root that encourages healthy liver. I use this instant chicory that dissolves immediately. There are also chicory root pastes available. Take 1 teaspoon of the powder and pour hot water over it. Then mix and add plant milk. Again, I like to use the ratio 2 parts water and 1 part milk. A cup of chaga mushroom tea is packed with antioxidants. I use this chaga that has been ground into fine powder. Taking chaga with either warm or cold water is believed to release its medicinal properties. I take half teaspoon of chaga powder and cover it with 200 milliliters of hot 50 degrees water, then stir and let steep for at least 15 minutes. For more benefits, leave it for up to 24 hours. Then I heat up some milk and add it to my chaga drink. You may strain the tea first if the tiny chaga pieces bother you. Some scientific studies indicate that, among other benefits, chaga boosts your immune system and fights inflammation. Warning: chaga can interact with some common medications, causing potentially harmful effects. It also contains a protein that can prevent blood clotting. People with autoimmune diseases should seek medical advice before taking chaga. There is no research on the safety of chaga for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. Therefore, the safest option is to avoid use. Dandelion root coffee is good for your liver, whereas dandelion tea made from the leaves will have more of an action on your kidneys. Where I live, I can buy this coarsely ground and dried dandelion root. To make coffee, I first need to roast it at 175 degrees Celsius for 8 to 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. I may have overdone it a bit this time. The smell really does resemble coffee to some extent. Of course, my coffee freak husband wrinkled his nose a bit to that comparison. After roasting, I grind it up and store in a small glass jar. To make coffee, I'm not trying to insult any coffee lovers here, I throw 1 to 2 teaspoons into a cup and pour boiling water over it. in this case 3/4 of the cup. Then cover and let it steep for 10 minutes. Then strain and fill the cup with barista oat milk. Now the taste is nothing like coffee, but it's pleasant and damn healthy. My husband said you could grow into loving it. This here might just be the prettiest drink ever. It's beetroot latte, made with beetroot powder that is made of dried and ground beets. I added 1 teaspoon of powder to a smaller cup and poured some hot water on it, mixing it well to get rid of any lumps before adding more hot water. Then stirring for a bit and finishing off with your favorite plant milk, barista oat milk in my case. And voila! You've got yourself a pretty and sweet tasting hot drink. By the way, my almost 11-year-old son loved it. If you miss hot chocolate, make this carob drink. Use 1 to 2 teaspoons of carob powder and add a bit of hot water. Mix until there are no carob lumps. Then add enough hot water to fill half of the cup and load the rest of the cup with plant milk. As carob is quite sweet, you could also use soy milk without the need for any additional sweeteners. My son asked me whether it's complicated to make it, as he'd like to start preparing it for himself, so it must be good. Be aware that there is also dark roasted carob that tastes quite bitter. Here it is in comparison to cacao, carob being the darker one. So make sure to get unroasted or lightly roasted sweet tasting carob. Which plant milks to use on Candida diet? There are several options: oat milk, coconut milk, almond milk, hazelnut milk, soy milk, quinoa, buckwheat milk. Make sure they come without any added sweeteners or other unwanted additives. What about cacao? Well, you need to be careful with anything that stimulates the body while you have yeast infection. Some people are very sensitive to any amount of caffeine. So if you've got, for example, sleeping problems, it's the best to avoid these things. That's for the cleanse phase, of course. You can start reintroducing it later. But what about coffee? It is advised to stop coffee and black tea, at least for the first 2 weeks. If you really can't do without, then have 1 cup of coffee a day but skip the sugar and make it really count by having a good specialty coffee. If you need it sweetened, try any of the Candida diet-friendly sweeteners instead. To underline, for majority of people, 1 to 2 cups of coffee per day is not a problem. However, it's not true for all people suffering from Candida overgrowth. For example, I can't have it. It simply wreaks havoc on my blood sugar levels. And I must say, I like the smell of coffee a lot more than the taste. So all is good. Now, I've seen this next question quite a lot. And to be honest, it makes me laugh every time. What's the best alcoholic drink on Candida diet? Do you see a controversy here? Alcohol, Candida diet. These two simply don't go together. Alcohol is an absolute no-go zone. And if you can't stop drinking until you are really well, you can't expect Candida diet to heal you. Unfortunately, for many, there is no safe alcohol. I haven't had any alcohol for more than 4 years now, since I started my Candida cleanse, and hand on heart, I don't miss it.